Hello and welcome to the OHG podcast. As usual, life could be a little bit miserable, life could be a little bit dark, you might even have a stinking cold, but we're here to bring you as much light and as much joy as we possibly can. And here with the Lemsip, joining me, Bradley, is obviously Stu. How you doing, Stu?
I'm all right now. I had, just thinking about that, I had a bit of a problem last night because I went to my friends to play board games, and on the way home I was like on my bike and I had an emergency in this sort of downstairs area and kind of needed to visit the facilities pretty quickly. And that was a pretty close run thing. Not great.
You do realise we're recording now, don't you, Stu?
I have no shame. You should know this by now.
No.
Yeah, so I had a bit of a late night because, you know, when you've got to kind of recover. Yeah.
You're also scared to go to sleep.
Yeah, you are to a degree.
Every little sort of like movement, you're like, oh no, what? I don't know. Yeah, I've had those.
Yeah, it wasn't
even great. Worse now when you're like, because obviously you're able to, if you need to quickly jump up and dart. I can't do that.
Ah, yeah, of course. Oh man, not fun.
Yeah, I know. Honestly, it's not a great feeling. Obviously, everyone tunes into this podcast for the good stuff.
Oh yeah.
Okay, loose bowels. Yeah, that's what we're here for.
Yeah. Stump problems, loose bowels, you know, all of that. That's what we bring the fun.
You don't get this on the major podcasts. The backstage pods don't get this. Backstage, the back page pod, rather. They even know titles of other podcasts. We don't. We just make it up.
I know, but, you know, are they missing out or are we missing out? You know, I really think they're missing out.
Yeah. I mean, we've already got rid of Triple Jump as a podcast. So, You know, we're gradually outlasting people.
Oh, yeah. Oh, if there's an award for just grinding it out and not caring, that would definitely be us.
Yeah. Just want to say, though, the team at Triple Jump, they've all gone on to do their own things. And, it's really great to see them all actually looking like they're flourishing, doing their own things now. It's good. So check them out because they are good guys. I like all three of them now.
Never heard of them, but I'll check it out.
What, Triple Jump?
Yeah.
Oh, no, you really, really should. Yeah, no, please do. Check them out. Their old stuff and their new stuff. Worst Games Ever's they're probably the most popular series and the one that they branched out on and kept going. They just play really bad video games and chat about it. It's cool.
Oh, very good. Yeah, I really struggle with like picking up new podcasts and getting into them. I kind of stick to my old ones a little bit, you know, stuck in the mud. It's a bit weird. Yeah,
no, I like it because it's one you could just sort of like have on kind of thing. It's just like they're a comfort blanket, if anything.
I'll check it out then.
Yeah, please do. Maybe they might promote us. I doubt it.
Not if they don't exist anymore. But
on their own thing, on the Worst Games Ever, they might.
That's true. Yeah, fingers crossed.
Anyway, quality content aside, you know what else has quality content, Stu?
Well, I know you're not going to say our podcast, but what is it?
Apparently, video games.
Ah, video games.
But only if you look carefully.
Yeah, you do have to stare.
I've got a bit of a long-form one I'm going to be chatting about today, and a kind of a thing. What's it called? An idea. What's that thing? A subject. Yes.
Oh, yes.
So I'm going to ask you.
What are you playing?
Well, I've not been playing a great deal this week, and I don't really know why. I think it's one of those kind of low ebb when you've played a lot of really good games that you've been massively into, and then you're kind of like casting around like, what do I start? Or do I start something really big and engrossing, or do I just, spuddle around with little things for a bit? And I eventually just decided to spuddle around with little things for a bit, so I carried on playing a little bit of Shinobi, just having a go at the arcade mode, which is really tough, but yeah, still fun. And the only new thing I've played is the demo of Marvel Cosmic Invasion, which is the side-scrolling beat-em-up, just to make a change in my repertoire of what I play. And I've basically just been playing those games continuously during 2025, which I'm not complaining about. So yeah, no, it's given a flavour of what you get, and it's a sort of pitching itself as a spiritual successor to Konami's X-Men game back in 93 or 94. It was a long time ago, but it was before Capcom picked up the reins and made all of the beat-em-up games. Now, I find it really odd. This is a diversion. There's not a lot to talk about with Cosmic Invasion demo so far, but so I'll go on a little bit of a diversion with this. But I never found that to be a particularly great game, to be honest. I just thought it was a bit meh. And I also found that with The Simpsons, the 4-player arcade game. I was like, I play a lot of beat-em-ups. Why are people going nuts for this? And I think it's probably, the IP mostly. I mean, The Simpsons arcade looks like a cartoon. Even now, it looks phenomenal. And it plays well. It's good, but it's not in my top 10. It might scrape into my top 20 of scrolling beat-em-ups, maybe. But, it would still be pushing it just because it's pretty as much as anything. And, like, Konami's greatest scrolling beat-em-up is Turtles in Time. It's Teenage Mutant.
I was going to say, the problem with The Simpsons, they're not naturally beat-em-up
characters,
cartoons, whereas the Turtles is,
that's right, and it's perfect. Turtles in Time is fantastic. It's the best one that Konami did, definitely in the arcades and definitely at home, although it's challenged by Batman Returns on the SNES, because that is a superb scrolling beat 'em up. And that actually challenges, that actually challenges some of the ones in the arcade, I'd say, in terms of quality, which is pretty damn impressive. But yeah, so I, massively into these things. Capcom are my baby when it comes to scrolling beat 'em ups. But on the Konami tip, the guys who make Cosmic Invasion made Shredder's Revenge. So it's got that kind of link. They definitely have a Konami beat 'em up influence going on. That said, there's a lot of new in this that isn't particularly along the Konami style. It's much less simplistic than that. So you pick one of your characters and the mix of heroes and anti-heroes, and there's loads of characters you can select from. Have a look at the roster. I played it a fair bit. My favourites are Wolverine, She-Hulk, and Venom at the moment. Are really good. And you pick.
Pretty sure, has everyone told you you're not allowed to like She-Hulk?
Oh, sorry,
She ruined Marvel.
She's all woke. Yeah. God, terrible. I'm not allowed to like her, so I won't like her. I'll just pretend it's Hulk with boobs or something. But So it's you select your character, but then you select a secondary character, and you can switch between them at any time, much like you can in this 2D fighting games where you fight each other, and you can use them as call-ins for assists and stuff like that. They have a kind of mixture of the characters have a mixture of like some being good in the air, some being better on the ground, some being good being particularly low to the ground, not using jump very much, and it's some of them like Venom and Spider-Man web swing as well, which adds a little bit of difference to it, and the main sort of that comes into play quite a lot. So if that affects the balance, and you want to make sure you've got a team that's nicely balanced. The other thing is that there's a block button that is different for each character. So for some of them, it's an evasion, it's a full dodge, whereas for some it's a block button. And on top of that, some of the ones you can block can also parry. So there's a really good kind of, if you imagine it as like a graph with like bars in different abilities, there's a really nice spread of bar graph abilities for all of the characters, making each one of them like important in their own way. And you can choose based not just on personal preference through the character, is like choosing a different character will make a big difference. So that's really good. It's only the first couple of levels, which is quite generous for a demo anyway. It's about sort of 20 minutes worth. And, that's full content. That's the full levels. There are some things that are a bit kind of disappointing. The music's quite kind of cheesy. It's not very impactful, and that's quite important in a beat 'em up. And the effects aren't very punchy. Like, I'd really like to see those like beefed up before the full release, or like, it's this year, so it's unlikely because there's not much time left. But you never know. No, that's not the end of the world. The demo's really easy as well, which isn't great. It doesn't push you to try and make the most out of your moveset. I've explored the moveset anyway, because that's just what I'm like. I've put 4 hours into the demo because I'm just a madman. And there's definitely room in there for good combos and, good tactics going around. So if it's got the right level of difficulty, that could be fun. And also it'd be nice to see the full roster, and if there's anybody in there who's really quite different, so that you can have unusual combinations. And the first 2 levels are a little bit bland, a little bit left to right, a little bit kind of, unfortunately, the classic style of Konami, in that there's not much variety or sophistication in the levels, which is one of the reasons I've never been a top fan of Konami beat-em-ups. But perfectly fine, perfectly adequate so far. Fun enough, but we'll have to see whether it's going to be a success. I think it could do with quite tuning fairly heavily for it to be a big thing.
Yeah. No, I've got it on my radar, and it looks interesting. I think it's one of those that I've looked at and gone, for collection completion type stuff, once it hits a sale, I think I'll grab it. Just so if I do fancy it one day down the line or whatever, it's there. Purely because I don't want to make the same mistake I've made with stuff like Outrun in the past, where obviously I do have my legal Steam copy of that on my Steam Deck. But I don't want to make that mistake that can happen where it comes out of license. And with it being a Marvel property, there's every chance it's one of those that's down the line that could be pulled just because of licensing. So, yeah, it's one that I look at and go, it's interesting. When it hits a sale, I'll pick it up, but I've not anything what others have said and what I've seen of it. It's not one that I've gone, yes, getting that day one.
Yeah, no, fair enough. And it's a really good point about the license, is that, that will definitely disappear down the line. So, it's worth getting at some point when it's cheap. But it's interesting because like Absalom comes out next week, and that's going to be a kind of direct competitor in a way.
Yes.
And
if only there was someone who's played it that could talk about it next week.
I know. If only we had somebody who could review it. That'd be so good.
I know. If only we got a code to have played that one. Damn it, Stu.
God damn it. But no, it's you can play both demos and get a decent sense of them. I would say that I can't talk about Absalom full game, but I can talk about the demo, and you can tell like from the demo of Absalom that you obviously there's a roguelike element, and you build up as you go along. You find that out in the demo, and you don't have that in Cosmic Invasion because it's a much more straightforward beat 'em up. So have a player, talk to the audience obviously, have a play around with the mechanics of both demos, and it'll give you a good sense of what you're going to get. But I would hold on for both, but I wouldn't, based on the demo, if you like the demo of Absalom, I wouldn't sleep on it. Do you know what I mean?
Cool. Yeah, I think I know where you're going with that one, and I think the audience does as well.
Yeah, and of course, I'm talking about the demo, so I'm golden.
Yes. Which could well be how we talk about the full game. Maybe tease, wink.
Who knows?
Have to find out after the embargo next week.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Moving on, just quickly, before I go into my main subject, as I was scrolling, just got reminded about Nintendo being Nintendo for a moment.
Oh, God.
2 of their greatest games have just been re-released on Switch and Switch 2. And that is Super Mario Galaxy 2. And I looked at it and I went, I'm very tempted to pick that up. Again, completionist's sake. I thought, it's Nintendo. They're going to have sorted it out. So if you got it on the Switch or whatever, you could sit there, play it, modern controls, whatever. No, of course not. There's still all gyro moving and waggle and stuff like that. Apparently, yes, there is a button press to do some waggle stuff, but you still need pointers for the like an actual pointer or gyro for collecting the stars. And it was like, bugger. Now, I've been playing, thankfully, because I did own the Wii versions of the games, legitimately. So I've been playing these games on the PC via my Steam Deck, which has fan patches, HD textures, all added to it, which allow you to play the game using modern controls in a way that just feels modern and it feels right. And again, you've got to look at stuff, and it took me down a rabbit hole. So someone's managed to do up-preses and modern controls for these two games, for Super Mario Sunshine, for Mario 64, and even Mario 3D Land on the DS. And apparently you can even get them as a package, like a kind of one-click install, as long as you can provide the game files. So like they've done all this, and it's all modernised, up-pres to 4K and everything, and they play and look wonderfully. Now I've just done the two Mario Galaxy games manually, and I just look at it and just go, what is wrong with Nintendo? Really, what is wrong with them? Right? Surely they must know, because they're so aware of the smallest little things. And go, shut that down, shut that down, shut that down. Right? Surely they must be aware that someone's managed to do a better job on the Mario Galaxy games than they did with the Mario Galaxy that came on the 3D All-Stars package. And go, let's just do that. But instead, they go, nah, let's do the waggle and keep in the annoying bits that you can't do on modern consoles. I really don't get them at times.
Well, they'll do anything to make a buck. They are awful.
Apart from release a good game.
Well, yeah. They do everything on the cheap. It reminds me of that sketch in The Simpsons with Bill Gates, where he destroys Homer's business because, even though he can't compete, it's just because they can,
Yeah.
and because they're in that mindset. And oh God, Nintendo, man, they are awful.
I know. The good thing about fan patches and stuff, they can't actually touch them, which is the best thing, because then at no point does any of these go, well, here's the actual game.
Yeah.
Everything's provided sans game, so they can't touch them.
That's right.
Which is great.
It is. I am worried that that's their next target, though. I was mentioning the other week, that there's a lot of decompilation projects where people can recode the entire game, and therefore, as it doesn't technically use the original code, it's not the original game, and therefore they can blah, blah, blah. And I'm worried that that's Nintendo's next target. So going after things that are adjacent to their games and that use these same images, even though they don't use the same code. I'm pretty sure that's their end game on this, which I'm hoping they don't get away with, but it's still a big worry.
I don't think they will, because I would happily play, and I know a lot of the charm with some of these games is the characters, but I would happily play, say, Super Mario 64. Sorry, Super Italian Guy 128.
Of course.
Which is decompiled but uses none of the same assets, so to speak. If they're able to do that, there will be ways around it. It'll be interesting to see what they actually do with the decomp. But at the moment, the fact they've never been able to shut down the Super Kaizo Mario games fully suggests they know it's a battle they can't win, and I think that's going to be how you get to play the better versions of some of their experimental system games. It's fine, I suppose, if you want it. But yeah, if you really want to play a better modern version, then fan patches are there. Because apparently their Mario Kart Wii, apparently they've called it like Mario Kart Wii Deluxe, and they've managed to rip tracks and stuff from like Mario Kart 8 all the way through down to SNES and everything, put that in the Wii version, set up an online server and stuff so you can join rooms and have online things, as well as add its own championships in there, and like completely rebuilt the game as a fan patch. And I'm just like Nintendo, what you need to do is work with these people. Because if they was to re-release some of these games, with what the fan patches have done, they'd do gangbusters.
Yeah.
They really would. I know they do. But what generally happens, people buy their remasters or like 3D All-Stars or whatever, and they go, yeah, well, I'll buy it because it's Nintendo. They play it and go, oh, yeah, well, but that was a shitty thing, but I'll still buy it. Rather than actually people enjoying what they're re-releasing. It's a weird company. They really are.
Yeah, they are. It's very strange the way that they treat these things, but yeah. I mostly steer clear of Nintendo now. I just don't bother with them most of the time, but yeah, sad.
Yeah, no, I agree. I do like their old output. Some of their modern outputs not been as good for me. So, yeah. Thankfully, though, Stu, do you know what is fantastic?
What's that?
And if they was a company, they would be the best company ever.
Who's that?
Indie games, Stu.
Yes, absolutely. Indie games.
The Indie Game Company. And was going to talk about a couple of games I've got on deck at the moment that I should be reviewing, but I did get distracted by a 1.0 release of a game that I've had in my library for a long time, and that is Hades 2.
Ah.
I'm not going to review it. It's more Hades, but different. More Hades, but better, in my opinion. Some people say more Hades, but not quite at the level of the first. It's a preference thing. It's, do you like your ribeye steak from this restaurant or this restaurant? Do you prefer it with the side of fries or the side of mash? It's, we're talking the same thing, but there's enough differences there. And what I do actually like about the game is it takes Hades and it's familiar, but goes different places with it, and it's really, really good. But what I want to talk about, we've now had this year alone, we've had indie sequels starting to come out for massive games. So Monster Train got a sequel that was literally as good, if not better, than the original. Silkson's come out and is, as good, if not better, than the original. And now we've had Hades 2 come out, which again is as good, if not better, than the original. And I'm going to do something that I've not done for a while. Like, I brought up the Metacritic scores on Steam for these games.
Oh, yeah.
So Hades and Hades 2. Right, so Hades has a Metacritic of 93. And Hades 2 is sitting there with a Metacritic of 95. The only games in my Steam library that have higher Metacritics are as follows. Half-Life 2, Half-Life, Grand Theft Auto 5, Baldur's Gate 3, and Disco Elysium. They're the only games that have a better Metacritic than Hades 2 on my 3,000 strong list. Now, I'm not saying there aren't any better games than that, and I'm probably missing a couple myself, but that is strong. That is a strong bit of company that's in, and that's where that sits. And then I was looking at sort of like, what else is there? Well, you've still got to come out. You've still got the sequel to Slay the Spire to come out, which again is going to be another one. But if that can match or better its original, is again just showing that rather than rushing out sequels that a lot of the AAA companies do, what you instead get is you get companies that are taking their time, they're looking at what made their game great, and then they're building upon it. For the fact that for Supergiant, not Supermassive, but for Supergiant Games, I did make that mistake on Blue Sky, if anyone wants to have a look. I knew what I was typing, and I knew I got it wrong. And I was like, damn it, I tried everything not to mistype that. But Supergiant, it's the first time they've done a sequel, which tells you something about what they think about Hades as a game. First time they've ever done a sequel, and it's impressive. And then sort of like you're looking at like there's been a whole bunch of like sequels come out this year for like AAA games, and they've kind of been middling. Like Dying Light, there's been a new Dying Light, and it's alright, the beast, but it's yeah. Did we need it really? Could it have been DLC or something? Maybe do something a bit. It was literally more of the same and didn't improve really in any way. And then you go back through the years, like you look at other things like the Oli games have all hit really, really well, sitting around the same Metacritic in the high 80s. If you want to count Psychonauts 2, again, that followed up a great game, and it took it ages to come out. Now, different reasons why that took ages to come out, but it took ages to come out, and it's benefited from long development cycles that hopefully didn't sound like it was full of crunch and problems and stuff like that. In fact, one of the only indie games I was looking through where the sequel was absolutely atrocious compared to the original was probably Super Meat Boy, where the original with that was an outstanding all-time classic that will be picked up in generations to come and still feel great. But then they done this kind of other thing that they did, that it was kind of like this auto-runner type sequel. Now, I know that wasn't Ed McMillan, and I know that was kind of taken over by others. But for me, that's one of the only indie sequels where I just went, no, you've screwed that. Absolutely screwed it. But, Citizen Sleeper 2, coming out after Citizen Sleeper, that had a slightly shorter development time, but was still like quite a distance between the two. They produced the game they wanted, and it was, absolutely outstanding. Again, both high 80s in the Metacritic and things like that. And yeah, I just look at what we've got here, and it's just like we're starting to see now, like, what are the indie developers doing? And I'm kind of, on the whole, it's looking at things going, amazing, this is great, can't wait. But also the worry for me is now, are we still getting original titles that back this up? Because that's kind of what happened with AAA. As we hit the PS1 and PS2 eras and stuff, we had original title after original title, then the odd sequel, and then it was just rehash after rehash after rehash. Don't get me wrong, I like Dark Souls. I think this is the right game. Elden Ring's the right game. But whenever I see From releasing something now, I'm like, could it be? Is it another one of them? Because yeah, great, I've got all those games. I don't know. I don't know if I want another Souls game from them. And they did go and do what's it called, Armored Core again, because they left that for a while, and that was fresh for me. That felt really, really fresh. But in terms of going, are we still getting really good indies come out that are original? Well, you got going after it, Cobalt Core came out recently, Blueprints came out recently. Obviously, you've got the Undertale games that sort of came out. Expedition 33, what an amazing game that absolutely is. So you're still getting absolutely excellent games that are coming out that are nice and original, as well as like your safe games. So there's a few little cozy games that are coming out. You've got sort of like one I've got up called Little Rocket Lab, which is a cozy take on like building a rocket and stuff like that. But you've got Blippo Plus, which is like a throwback coming out, and I've got to talk about this, which is like old school, like TV type stuff, and it's an interesting concept that's been done really well. And then you look at other stuff that's come out, compilation based stuff. So UFO 50 came out this year, might be back in the last year, but that came out, which is just tons and tons of quick little games. But it's exceptional. It took what it knows and done certain things. Animal Well, nice and original. Factorio does what it does really, really well. Go back a few more years, Into the Breach, that was absolutely outstanding. None of these original games feel like just all Me Too type games. They've got their own ideas, and while they may borrow concepts, they go places. Dead Cells is very much a Hades style game in how it plays for me. Yes, it's different. It's like 2D, and it's not like that isometric thing that you get with Hades, but it's very similar in its concept of progression, but it feels completely different. I picked it up at some point last week, just before I knew I was going to be playing Hades 2, played a bit of Dead Cells. And do you know what? It's completely different. Even though it's familiar in terms of that, it feels fresh still. Even to this day, it still feels fresh to play. And again, I'm looking at AAA stuff from the likes of EA, Microsoft, to even Sony, and just go, what is this? What's actually there? What's causing me to play these games? Nintendo seem, again, we just spoke about them. Are they worried? Hence the reason re-release after re-release that is coming out. What have they actually got for Switch 2? I'm looking at it and I'm going, there's no big system seller for Switch 2 for me. Now, people can come after me if they want. But what's the big system seller for a Switch 2 that you had with the Switch? Where's the big new Mario game? That's what you sell Nintendo hardware on. I had Mario Odyssey for the Switch. What have I got for the Switch 2? There's nothing there. Indies are doing absolutely amazing things. And I've got another one that's coming out I'll be talking about soon called Ball X Pit, which is a breakout style game. That's again, it's done as a roguelite, and I know everything's roguelite, but it plays really, really well. It's a really interesting game, and another interesting concept on taking two existing genres and doing something with them rather than just going copy. But yeah, it's like, again, scrape beneath the advertised surface. And there's amazing games left, right, and centre. Or you can stick with EA and fun, hate, and racism and stuff like that. But we'll talk about that bit in depth another day. But what's happened to Nintendo, Stu? Where's the new Mario?
That's a good question. It's not like they didn't see this coming. I don't really understand, other than perhaps they thought everything's selling so well still. So we're still selling so many copies of, Odyssey and Super Mario. What was the 2D one called? Wonder. Yeah. Maybe they thought, well, we don't even need to do that level of investment. We can spend some more time and more years getting it out the door. They seem to be very clever at how they manipulate their IP. Cynically.
And now they manipulate their audience.
Yes, exactly, in the same way. But yeah, no, you brought up a lot of good points there. I think there is a danger that that indie games will, you'll get a good studio and then they'll end up just being a sequel studio. But I think one positive is that there's so many new studios emerging, so many individuals, so many lone developers who are amazing, that even if there's a Hades 5 and you're bored of it, there's still going to be something new coming up by other people all the time, and that's a fantastic place to be. Never going to be short of innovation and newness, and it really is the saviour of the industry at the moment, because there's hardly any AAAs I even glance at, let alone consider seriously. There's basically nothing at all on my radar that I can think of in that world, and we're eating good. It's so good at the moment.
Yeah, and it's like on the horizon, it just doesn't feel like it's letting up there. I'd say it's so many good games. I say you've got one coming out that, again, we know we spoke about, and we know it's going to be good. We don't even need to. I don't think that sort of stuff way back embargo. We're not going into detail. We know it's going to be good. Sometimes you just know from how people talk about demos and stuff like that. As I said, I've got coming up Blippo Plus, the Fame game, Henry Halfhead, Into the Dead, Our Darkest Days, which I can't wait to talk about, because it's like, do you remember This War of Mine?
Yeah.
Depressing game. Well, imagine that, but much lighter tone. With zombies and stuff instead. Still like permadeath and people living miserably, but it's zombies, so it's lighter. So yeah, Cat and Naught, which is a 2D Metroidvania style game. I said, like, a couple of horror games coming out because obviously it's that time of year. Another sequel that coming out actually that does really good stuff. So obviously you've got Strange Horticulture, which was a game, really interesting game based around plants and stuff like that went places. Well, we've now got this, the sequel to this is Strange Antiquities, which is the same concept but moves from horticulture to antiques. And it's really interesting. And sort of like Super Farming Boy is another one on my radar, which is an arcade farming sim stroke match 3 game, which I'm still not sure how to sort of talk about it and sort of like give it the justice it deserves. But again, we are talking sort of like so many different styles of game in there. FMV's doing really well, which is great. That is one genre that has really, really matured over the years, the FMV game. Just so much good stuff in the indie scene. And I think with so much misery going on at the moment, so much hate. It's just great to see the love being spread in. I don't even want to say it's not even underground anymore. This culture, is it? But on fringe cultures and stuff like that, it's great to see.
Yeah, it certainly is. I think it's a unifying thing, and I think it's getting not a mainstream sort of acceptance, but I think the way that storefronts work on consoles now, it means that indies are quite far front and centre. It's brilliant.
Yeah, and obviously the only way a lot of indies actually do get spoken about is when we talk about them, not just being used to, but us gamers. When you come across something you like, it doesn't matter how niche it is. As long as you understand not everyone's going to like it, not everyone's got to like that thing you like, but talk about it with the passion. You're not trying to sell the game to people. That's the job of the developers and the publishers. But if you find a game that you love, just talk about it with passion. I know that you're not going to be interested by whatever the next deck builder is that I get, but you will know, okay, I'll have a look at it. I'm not going to buy it, but I'll have a look at it and I'm now aware of it. So if someone asks for a deck builder, recommend a deck builder, well, I know Brad spoke absolutely wonderfully about this one, so have a look at this. So speak passionately about your games. And you'll find kindred spirits with those games. I don't like, what's that shooty one that you like? Those shooty games up the verticals. Shooty up the wazoo or whatever it's called. I'm not a big fan of those because I can't do them. I appreciate them, but I love that you love them. And it's great to have those conversations because AAA is just full of, oh yeah, it's the same as last time. And oh yeah, but now I've got another currency I can worry about. Do that, do one with that, do that. I can't be arsed with that.
Oh yeah, completely. It's I don't know. I can't even think of what's on the slate for release in the AAA world because it's just all the same stuff every time. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't. Well, apart from that, we do know that all the EA games are about to become microtransaction propaganda machines, so... And FIFA.
Haven't they always been like that? But even worse, yeah, I suppose. Okay, even worse now.
I mean, I remember that one golden era where you had your skates, your mirror's edges and things like that, and it was like, EA have learned, and then they didn't.
Nope.
Skate 4 is I've looked at videos of that and just gone, this isn't Skate. What have you done? And it doesn't work on Steam Deck anyway because EA I decided don't want that, and it's just microtransactions.
Oh god, yeah, I wouldn't touch it with yours.
No, I've not touched it with mine either. But you can emulate Skate 3 really, really well on Xenia. Just putting it out there.
Yeah.
So don't accidentally download Skate 3 or 2. Don't accidentally do that using accidentally Xena.
No.
Xenia, not Xena. Oh my god, Lucy Lawless is back.
Xenia Warrior Princess.
Wait, I've just said that. No, she's not dead, is she, Lucy Lawless?
No, she's not dead.
Why did I think she was dead all of a sudden?
Bit of a brain fart.
Yeah, I'm sure it's one of those where... Yeah, oh no, it's not, because she was in Ashton versus the Evil Dead. And Parks and Rec. Ignore me. Please, Stu, save me. Can we leave now? I think I've got brain medicine, no
Yeah.
cold medicine taking effect.
We will definitely leave it there. But no, there's some good stuff there. You know, it's good to talk about the whole scene every now and again. And if there is ever a AAA game that we enjoy, we'll definitely talk about it. I don't know whether to class Metroid Prime 4 as AAA, because I'll be getting that in complete reversal of saying I don't buy Nintendo games.
It is Nintendo, so. But I'm willing to bet. Actually, I'm willing to bet of all their games. That's going to be one of the best, actually, because it's taken its sweet ass time. I don't think it quite can. But it's not like, we've given it a year or so and there's another one. I've got a feeling that will be like a good original release, so to speak, from Nintendo. But don't they use a third-party developer for that?
Yeah, it's like a second party now, I think. It's just basically, an in-house but separate team. So, yeah, it's something I'm looking forward to. I don't know if I'd call it AAA, but it's AA.
Yes. Yeah. Double arsehole.
Is that just me?
I don't know. My head's gone.
All right. I'll lead us gently away from this then. So, as usual, follow us on all the socials. Make sure you're checking out the content on the website. Join us on Discord if you wish to chat. And until next week, stay safe and stay sane.